Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Lily Elmshade. As you can see, I am not in front of the Pilgrim's Path anymore, the Twilight Sepulchre. And that is because I have recorded an entire episode. Recorded and lost it. I didn't really do much. I went into a cave, got I got another of these unusual gems, and I also got another shout, fire breath. Oh, I have 5 dragon souls. And I did the jobs. And I read some of my mail. Yeah, I did the jobs. So I will go ahead and read the mail that I picked up. I was very distracted yesterday, and and when I realized what I had done, I was like, oh, shoot. But I didn't really do much. I just traveled to Markarth and then took a carriage to Windhelm to do my job. Other than going into a cave and getting a shout and picking up the gem, and I also leveled. And I took sneak and alchemy. That was it. Literally, that was it. And then I came here and got a room. So, let's see. Oh, and I got attacked by one of Boethiah's people. So, we're going to go ahead and read that, since I'm going to be cleaning up around Windhelm. Boethiah's Proving. The following account is true. May it serve as a warning to those with ears to hear and hearts to know. On a certain day, at a certain time, the faithful gathered to perform certain rituals, hoping to gain a glimpse of their master. The day was correct. The summoning was true. Slashing a smoking tear through the veil, she, her very self, appeared before them, terrible and resplendent. She came arrayed in ebony, darker than a moonless night, wielding a blade burning hotter than the surface of the sun. And though she wore the guise of a Dunmer warrior queen, she towered above them like a statue carved from the red mountain itself. Why have you disturbed me? Surprised, the first among them prayed, O Boethiah, prince of plots, deceiver of nations, Queen of Shadows. Really? I thought the Queen of Shadows was nocturnal. Goddess of Destruction, we come to worship thee. She looked down upon her followers, gathered to bear witness. Frowning, she asked the first, Tell me, you who profess to know me, how shall I know you? Afeard, he exclaimed, each night I pray to thee, each night I call out thy wondrous names. Surely thou must recognize the sound of my voice, thy most devoted of believers. She frowned and let out a long sigh, and then of a sudden he was gone, the air from her lungs dispersing him. Turning to the second, she asked, And you? How shall I measure the worth of your existence? Stunned by the power of her voice, he bowed before her darkening visage. She clapped her hands, and he too was gone. To the third, And you, tell me, how shall I know you apart from such as were they of whom there is no trace? Shaken and speechless from the nullifications of his brethren, he whispered, Have mercy upon us. She blinked twice. Once he was in agony. Twice he was destroyed. She cast a withering glance across those remaining and said, I do not grant mercy. And so it was with the others. She putting them to proof, they offering none. Finally she came to me, eyes glow with anger, tongue wet with hate, and said, "Of all my believers but 2 remain. Tell me, second to last, with what shall you prove your existence?" Without hesitation, I drew forth my blade and buried it in the chest of the other, who stood beside me, and without fear replied, "Ask him whose blood now sprouts from my blade if I existed." She smiled, and the gates of oblivion opened between her teeth. Then she said, "Tell me, now last of my followers, wherefore do you remain where the others do not?" I retrieved my blade and offered it up, saying, "I am alive because that one is dead. I exist because I had the will to do so, and I shall remain as long as there are signs of my handiwork, such as the blood dripping from this blade." Accepting my gift, she nodded and said, "Indeed. If in the raiding your blood boils in your veins and your mind blazes with fire, then Boethia calls you. It is then most wise to heed her call. Find her on the mount which overlooks Windhelm. Meet us there and be tested." Okay. Bounty for Crow's Tooth. Rumor has it that forsworn raiding parties have been pushing further and further east, along the Gerald Mountains. The arrival of Legate Fassendel has prevented further incursions, but they failed to apprehend their leader, Crow's Tooth. While Crow's Tooth has been separated from her forces, she is believed to have fled with considerable spoils. In an effort to put an end to this threat, anyone killing Crow's Tooth may claim her stolen loot. Mercenaries like infamous sellsword Bjormund Windstrider have been seen heading into the mountains beyond Darklight Tower. While they could be after the treasure, it is feared Crow's Tooth is gathering these forces for a renewed assault. We ask any capable warriors for their aid in dealing with this potential threat. Anariel. Dinner invitation. Lily Elmshade, you have been cordially invited to dinner and drinks at Bloodchill Manor. And even this name is ominous. As an honored guest, you are encouraged to come early and mingle with the other attendees. When you are ready to feast, ask the house waiter for a menu, and he will let you into the banquet hall. The finest and most delectable dishes will be on display. There will be no need for appetizers. Once everyone is ready and seated, a full course awaits. Come for the dinner. Stay for the drinks. This is a most ominous letter. To all capable warriors, a group of bandits have stolen something of great value to my family's kingdom, the headman's cleaver, and fled to Skyrim like cowards. We believe they're remnant members of the Green Cap bandits, who have been a thorn in the Queen's side from the day she was born. Our sources tell us they're holed up in Lost Knife hideout, and as the Queen's strongest knight, I have been tasked with retrieving it. However, if I don't survive, I ask that you eliminate these bandits in her name. The Queen will gladly bestow the cleaver to the one who vanquishes her oldest enemy, Shagar's Grubbatul. This is one I picked up last when I was recording. So, yeah. We crossed into Skyrim under the cover of Ashfall. As far as anyone knows, we're shipping refugees, just one in a long line of vagrant caravans escaping the wrath of Red Mountain. Normally, a story like that would be enough to get us through, but not this time. Now, I've been a caravan guard for some time, and I've seen some pretty extensive security measures. Locks, chains, the works. One client even had a conjurer summon a Daedra to guard his wagon, but even compared to that, this seems excessive. For one, Everything has a code name. The cargo, the guards, even the horse. As for the caravans, to keep it familiar, we've been given a name from one of the great houses. Of course, some of the guards didn't like that part. One of the new bloods said he'd rather bend the knee to a guard than wear the name of house dress. But Captain Enados brought him in line with the point of his blade, and the rest followed. You'd think the Red Year would unite us, but it seems like there's old scars that haven't healed and old scores that haven't been settled. And at the end of the day, none of that matters. The job's the job. Like the captain said, at least they didn't name us after the boots. We've also got several decoy caravans heading out through Skyrim, all the way to some undisclosed location in Hammerfell. But since that's not enough, each caravan will meet up at preset checkpoints and swap their items out. That means different decoys traveling different paths every step of the way. With the refugee garb, they say we should blend right in, and on the off chance we don't, we've got runners set to flee to the next village. Hidden compartments, anything you can think of. Still, if you ask me, all of it sounds like a waste of time. I'm no scholar, but those 2 bits of cargo don't look like anything special. Just a fancy way to bash some poor flaw's skull in? I wonder what that means. With all the chaos bleeding out of Vardenfell, we made it to Windhelm without so much as a paper cut. Come morning, we're heading out west along the river toward Nightgate Inn. If all goes well, we'll reach the mountains pass by midday. Still, we'd get there sooner if not for all the stops. By order of Ulfric Stormcloak, to all able-bodied men and women of Skyrim, a merchant by the name of Gunther Frostfoot has gone missing. He was last seen in the area near Trader's Post. Any assistance in this matter would be appreciated. Yorli. And Warrior's Challenge. Long ago, my ancestors built a great hall on the mountainside north of Bile Gulch Mine. They called it Helheim, a warrior's home that rivaled Sovngarde itself. As the last of my clan, I wish to bequeath this home to a true warrior. You are not a Nord, yet I've heard your prowess in battle rivals that of our most legendary fighters. I ask you to prove it with your blade. That's what I did. I read notes and I picked up a new one, and so yeah.
I'm a sailor on the North Wind. We're laying over in Windhelm for a while.
Shall we take a seat or are we leaving?
We are leaving.
Behind you.
And my cat was playing along the computer, disturbing the recording like she's doing now.
I've been looking for you.
Oh, you have?
That's something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Looks like that's it. Got to go.
Warriors Festival flyer. Warriors Festival, 20th Sun's Dusk. All equipment will be half price today at your local arms dealer or blacksmith. Now is the time to stock up for your upcoming adventure. You do not want to pass this deal up. Alright. Oh. I forgot I was going to talk to him. But I'm going to go clean stuff up. So I'll go over here. And then I'll come over here and clean that out. So,
Farm work is hard work. It's good to relax when I can, but I still have to listen to my brothers harping about injustice.
The best way for us to win the Lord's respect is through hard work.
yes, work hard and maybe they'll respect you.
I am here for you. Okay, let us get back to it. Come here, you big smelly gas bag. Just as impressive as dead.
Of course I'm caring too much.
Uh-huh. You want me to lighten your load? Okay then.
Well, that was definitely more interesting than the last video.
Those are smelly.
I didn't fight a dragon. I didn't really do anything interesting except pick up a new note.
Mr. Dragonfly is having a good time at the moment. He enjoys traveling with us very much.
And that's nice of Mr. Dragonfly. Hello? I'm here to recover a missing merchant. Hello?
Is someone there?
Oh, hello.
You will not live to get that.
Bad time to get lost, friend.
Adventuring is a dangerous business. Ow.
It sure is. I can sell that. Elven bow. What type of bow do I have? A glass bow. Ooh. Of course I'm carrying too much. Good thing I have like loads of... Where is it? Nice. Block. Oh, water skin. Can always do with the water skin. Am I carrying my backpack? No, I'm not. Do I have a backpack? Nope. Ooh. Alright. Erwin's journal. Letter from Edward. Another glass dagger. My dearest sister Erwin, I see your way with words remains as elegant as a falling boulder. I am indeed alive, and no, I haven't forgotten my promise to you, which I remind you again was never literal. You see, when someone says you'll be the death of me, it's not an invitation to murder. It's more of a loving expression of one's exasperation, but I know nuance has never been your strong suit. I must warn you, however, that correspondence like this endangers us both. So if you truly wish to keep this promise, it's best you don't respond. When the time is right, I will come to you. Oh, and be kind to our merchant friend Gunther, will you? Consider him my gift to you, along with this book on our past life. I'm sure you know by now, but it seems one of us has taken to writing about our adventures. I assure you it isn't me, but I'm glad his depiction of you is as honest as you are incorrigible, Edward. Okay. Ooh, Ring of Master. Crimson Darks, Volume 5. Where are volumes 1 through 4? Erwin's journal. Can you get out of the way, please? Thank you. My new friend Gunther and I are getting along quite well. The other bandits are already getting jealous. He really was a fine gift. I should thank my brother Edward before I slit his throat. The thing I like best about my good friend Gunther? He can keep a secret. I tell him all sorts of juicy tidbits and he never says a thing. He reminds me of my old companion Skill and the time we nearly got murdered by a Daedric cult. There was a ton of good loot in that place. Haunted artifacts, blood sacrifices, things that make lesser men want to hug their priest. Nothing that would frighten off Gunther, though. He's quite stoic, sitting in his chair. On top of that, he gets along with everyone. It doesn't matter if they're short people, fat people, tall people, or cat people. That's the thing about my old friend Gunther. He doesn't judge. Anyways, when I got to Skyrim, I sold most of the loot we piled up over the years, seeing as we wanted men have to travel light. The heaviest piece I sold was a set of Daedric mail to a caravan Khajiit named Madron. I liked that armor, but in the end I had no choice but to get rid of her. She knows what she did. Besides, if I wanted to get her back, I could always trade something of equal value, like the Ring of Massar I ripped off the merchant at the Crescent Moon's Inn way back when. Me and the furballs, we have history. The ring is worth at least 2 sets of armor or 20 pairs of boots. It can fortify your illusion magic, just like the book says. The books get a lot right. Even the parts about me, except I'm much prettier and taller than in real life. Either way, I don't need to cast spells to run this new crew, so I'll let my best friend Gunther wear the ring. I think it looks really good on him. Alright. The Crimson Darks, Book 5 by Gathers the Coin. I really want to know where the other ones are. Erwin was convinced the ring was cursed. At first, the proof came in small doses. There were bad streaks at the card table, sudden pain in her tooth, and stale bottles of mead. Soon, the proof took on a larger, more dangerous form. Her blade would miss its mark. Potions would cure too slowly, or she'd step on a rune that her barbarian companion Skjol had no business skipping over. Then there's the greater proof, the instances that threatened their livelihood. There was the coin drying up, new guard patrols at usual haunts, and word that the East Empire Company had taken notice of their works. All told, it augured a slow, tumbling march toward the end of the Crimson Darks. How long is this book? Quite long. Knowing this, a smart person must have cast it out, tossed the foul ring into the heart of Iliac Bay, and let the waves ferry it to forgotten shores. A wise person might have taken it a step further, destroying the artifact and its ill-fated magic so that no person, past or present, would ever come to harm. Erwin, of course, decided to wear it around her neck. With regard to the ring's nature, she told only the barbarian. Her brother Edward would refuse to believe her. The others would demand she get rid of it, in whatever manners best fit their inclinations. Skjol, on the other hand, would neither object nor disapprove. Whenever she confided in him, Skjol would simply stare at her blankly and let out a guttural snort before chewing on the nearest piece of meat. Skjol, after all, was not just a barbarian, but one who wore that label like a badge, or honor bestowed upon him by the High King. Of course, he knew few. Of words he knew few, and when he wrote them down, rarely did he put them in the right order. The only thing, I'm guessing, because there's no I, that spared him from further ignominy was the fact he couldn't speak. As the story goes, the leader of the Crimson Dirks, Tyra Bloodfire, found him in a cage with his tongue removed, and upon freeing him, gained his axe. To this day, it was never clear if Skjol was loyal to her or the crew, or whether that distinction had any meaning to him. If Tyra asked him to back Erwin on a job, he would do so without question and absorb whatever secrets, insults, and curses the Breton decided to flee in his general direction. That theory would be tested the moment she stepped on that ruin. Earlier that week, they had received a tip. A new crew had set up a smuggler's operation in one of the old ruins outside the capital. It was supposed to be a simple task. They were to meet with the clan leaders, flex their muscle, and come home with new members or a percentage of the take. It all would have gone according to script, Erwin thought, had the ring not been cursed. "This is all your fault," she said to no one in particular while glaring at her disobedient hands. Moments earlier, the Breton had awoken to the sound of chanting. A low and ominous moan floating through the chamber. The rune had blurred her sight, but it was the haunting refrain that seemed to dull her focus, unable to cast a spell. Regardless, it was clear their captors were more than smugglers. Erwin didn't need to see the source of the chanting to know it was bad business, no matter how long Skill mindlessly pointed in that direction. "Well, at least it isn't cannibals," Erwin sneered, "although you being a choking hazard might have worked in our favor." Skill wasn't the brightest Nord, but he knew when he was being insulted. In a past life, he would have simply crushed Ern's skull and taken a nap. Moreover, cages were nothing new to him, and Ern's noisy jests were to him signs of panic. But he had sworn a vow to protect the charges of the one they called Bloodfire, and so rather than kill the Breton for looking at him oddly, Skill continued to point, much to Erwin's confusion. The shrine behind her was Daedric in origin. Large, twisted and barbed, its stems ugly and misshapen. Blood dripped from its ebony thorns, spilling past the cage and down the stone steps like shifting roots. At the base of the steps stood robed cultists, lost in their supplication, flanked by guards dressed in Daedric armor and mail. Despite an open roof, the air in the ruins was thick and noxious, and the shrine seemed to throb in the blood moon's light. As the light shone on the altar, the cultist chants began to turn more vehement and forceful. The voices continued to rise louder and louder until one of the guards broke from his stance, climbing the steps toward the cage. Seeing this, Erwin bared her teeth and snarled at him like an animal, but he continued his approach undeterred. As the chants hit a crescendo, Erwin could no longer hear her own thoughts, seeing nothing save the coal-black gauntlet split through the bars and reach for her neck. With a thrust, the guard grabbed her by the head and slammed her into the bars. Drawing his weapon with his other hand, with spit bubbling from her mouth and her body pressed against the iron, Erwin screamed at Skill every manner of insult she could contrive, but the elf continued to sit in place, his fingers still extended, even as the cultist chant drummed against their ears. Only now the finger was pointed to the ground, tracing a circle. Erwin looked down and saw the ring glowing hotly on her chest. Skill didn't need to tell her what to do next. She wrung herself free of the guard's grasp and, not knowing what would happen, placed the ring on her finger. The chanting stopped, and in its place the shrill cry of weapons drawn from their scabbards. The Daedric warrior turned his attention to the cultists, but it was too late. Erwin's spell of hysteria had taken hold, her focus restored by the power of the ring. One by one, the cultists turned on each other, their rage driven by hers, and when the clang of metals faded and the screams turned to silence, Erwin collapsed, having exhausted all of herself and the ring. As the hours passed into the day, Erwin lay there on the floor of her cage, letting the sun splash through the bars. Skill snored softly in his corner, shifting on occasion to scratch himself. Outside, ravens picked at the flesh of the dead, sharpening their beaks on the bones and paying no mind to the living. The others would come looking for them eventually, and fetch Nishara to pick the lock. But for now, Erwin was content as she was. She held the ring up against the sky, circling the area where the moon once stood. Perhaps she had made a mistake, and the ring wasn't cursed after all. but Erwin still held out hope. Okay. And there's a treasure map. Okay. Alright. Oh great, I see trolls. And they see us. So Refugees Rest. Oh, the first revolt. Flawless Garnet. All good things, all good things. And we are gonna go up this way. So there's another troll. Lovely. I'm going to do this and then I'm going to end the video. Between the cat and the kids, it's been a little difficult to get this video out, so either video out. Why are you naked?
We are Lord Boethiah's faithful. Have you come to test your mettle?
Is this some kind of cult?
We are forged by Boethiah's example. We carve our will upon the world through our tongues and our blades. You are nothing. An empty vapor, dispersed by the slightest breeze.
I'm not afraid of you.
Good. Perhaps I've misjudged.
And who is Boethia?
The Lord of Plots, deceiver of nations, devourer of Trinity. Queen of shadows, goddess of destruction, he who destroys and she who erases. Many are our Lord's lofty names, but they befit only us mortals. Intone her mighty names from now until the end of time. It is Names mean nothing to our Lord. She only cares for those who care for themselves, whose hearts are full of purpose, whose lives are full of dreams.
My heart is full of purpose and my life is full of
If
deeds.
you desire a glimpse of our dark mistress, then this is what you must do. First, prove your tongue can wield a lie. Find someone, gain his trust, lead him to the shrine above. Next, instruct your thrall to touch the pillar of sacrifice. Its magic will ensnare him, rendering him helpless. Then, girded with certitude, plant the ceremonial blade deeply, so that the waters of his heart wash over him. If your will is strong enough, it will stir Boethia in her dark mansion, and she will appear before you.
Fine.
That remains to be seen. But if it is so, and if Boethia appears, then we will welcome her as well. Gain Boethia. You will be
Do you wish to test yourself against me?
I forgot about my Cyrodiilic Iron Dagger.
Do you wish to test yourself against me?
Get out of my way.
A well-placed word or a well-placed dagger, both can achieve equal purposes.
I could have sworn there were,
A well-placed word or a well-placed dagger, both can achieve equal.
Ooh! Oh! I don't want that. You can have that. Ooh! Irania's journal. I'm gonna read this and then I'm gonna end it. 2 Suns Height. My name is Orania, Imperial Historian. My research on ancient artifacts has led me across the sands of elsewhere in the forests of Valenwood, and now it has led me to the inhospitable north of Skyrim. My quarry is that of Goldbrand, a golden katana. Ooh, golden katana. Said to have been forged by dragons and embodies the power of the Daedric Prince Boethia. The blade has passed through many hands, most recently those of Emperor Titus Mede II. He was rumored to have possessed it during the Battle of Red Ring. After the battle, Mede II or one of his agents had it returned to the tomb of the one said to have originally possessed the blade. Svidr, an ancient Nord warrior who fought in defense of the dragons. And there, in Svidr's Respite, is where Goldbrand is said to reside. Mede II was said to have felt that he lacked the right to claim the blade and that it should return to the one who it was first entrusted. No direct record of the location of Svidr's Respite exists in the Imperial Archives. However, I discovered a strange missive on a mission involving precious cargo and a map, and along with it a map. As it turns out, this was the only record of the mission to return Goldbrand to Skyrim, and the map led to Svidr's Respite. It lies in a cave in the mountains just north of Windhelm. Based on my findings there, I have other business to attend to now. It would seem I have some traveling yet to do. I have documented my findings in a separate journal on the topic. 15. Last Siege. I am starting to believe I may have attracted unwanted attention. A group of dangerous cultists who worship the Daedric Prince Boethia are said to gather near Windhelm, and Guldbrand's whereabouts would no doubt be of interest to them. Already, I feel like I see the same faces as I pass strangers along the road. I should be careful. Oh no. Okay. Looks like I have some cleaning up to do around Windhelm next time. And with that said, I will see you guys next week. And, yeah. So leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already, because whether it's Skyrim or Hogwarts Legacy, there are more coming your way. Have a good day, guys!